Hi, I'm Bernhard Scully. I play French horn, and I'll be playing principal horn for this season in ROCO. I do a couple things. My main position is I'm a professor of horn at the University of Illinois. I've been there since 2010. So in the summers, I run a music festival called the Kennel Betts Horn Camp. Kennel Betts was my teacher in high school. He was the former principal horn of the Minnesota Orchestra, where I grew up, and I had done the camp for many, many years. And then he unfortunately got sick a number of years ago, and he asked me if I would take over the camp. So I've been overseeing the camp as artistic director, which is also the camp is actually through a larger nonprofit called Cormont Music, and we do a lot of other digital broadcasts as well, especially we've done that during the pandemic. So we're kind of a multifaceted organization whose mission is to bring the art and joy of horn playing to pretty much anybody in the world who wants to come learn, and also keep breaking down barriers of access to having people learn the instruments. Also, I play in the summer with a group called North Country Chamber Players, which is also based in New Hampshire, and we have concerts throughout the year. Well, I was born in Minnesota. My parents were academics. I guess I followed in their footsteps. My dad's first position was at the University of South Dakota. And my first instruments I played were the violin and piano, because my parents were both pianists. So it was logical, even though I was terrible at it. So I was not very good at piano or violin, did not like to practice. But I think doing all those things for, all my early years, it gave me a very good ear. And so then in band, when I was 11 years old, they asked, "What instrument do you want to play?" My parents really didn't want me to play one of the more popular instruments. They didn't want me to play, I mean, nothing against these instruments. They didn't want me to play them. So it was like, you could play oboe, Alicia would be happy about that, or bassoon, horn. I saw the horn, and I kind of thought it looked pretty cool. And so I tried it, and I think people noticed that I could hear the pitches pretty well when I played it, which is fairly hard to do when you first start playing the instrument. So I started the horn in sixth grade in band. So the horn, I liked it, and then I eventually started getting kind of good at it and stuck with it. So, I mean, I really love the sound. I think that's over the years has always just stuck with me. Is it's got such a beautiful sound, and I think it's a very vocal sound. Um, for every person playing the instrument, you kind of get a really different sound. Actually, I like the vastness of the repertoire and all the challenges. I just like all music so much; it's hard to narrow it down. I do like Bach very much as a composer. He also did write for horn a fair bit, more than many of his contemporaries. So, other composers I love. I love the music of Stravinsky. I love the music of Bartok. Even though Bartok did not write very good horn parts, very interesting horn parts, or many solos for that matter. I just love the music. I think it's very powerful music. I happen to love jazz, and I consider all the musicians in the jazz lineage also composers. So I happen to love the music of Wayne Shorter. I think he's one of my favorite composers of all time, actually. He recently passed away, which is very sad. Um, I happen to love the music of, I like Ornette Coleman, actually. I thought his music is fascinating to me. um, Miles Davis. I love his compositions and himself as a composer. Yes, I don't play too many other instruments, at least not very well, but I do love to sing. I do a lot privately. I love the human voice just as an instrument of expression. So I sing in my practice and try to play the French horn like I sing, and I try to encourage my students to do that. I think I might actually choose saxophone. I think it's a very nice vehicle for a lot of it has a lot of potential for expression that I just think is really cool. Like all the ones, like people I just mentioned, like Ornette and Wayne, John Coltrane, so many. I mean, Chris Potter. Right now, I probably listen to these people more than I do almost any instrumentalist. My youngest daughter plays horn, and she's taking lessons with one of my students. My middle daughter plays trumpet, and she takes lessons from a DMA student at U of I right now. And my oldest also plays horn, and she used to sing a lot when she was a kid too. So she takes lessons from another one of my students. My wife is a music therapist, and she plays flute and many instruments. And also our dog, named by my children actually, his name is Gustav Mahler. We call him Gus, and he also sings. He likes to sing to my horn playing, especially songs. He's a Springer Spaniel. I think hunting is in his blood. Whenever I play anything in a fast 6/8, dun 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 dun, he likes to howl. And I wish I had a video to show you because it really is something. So reading in general. I like sports to a degree. I used to do a lot of running when I was younger, and then when I've gotten older, my body has kind of said like you shouldn't do this as much. I took up the sport of triathlon. Favorite movie? I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan, so I love 2001: Space Odyssey. I love The Shining, um, Full Metal Jacket, like all of his classic movies, Eyes Wide Shut. I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan, so like Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, all the American classics. Pretty much all foods of the world. I just love them, and the more I travel, the more I just sample and like more. But I've always had a real love for Indian food. Um, I it's yeah. Let's see, Middle Eastern food of all kinds, um, and just good old fashioned, soul food. So I gotta say, I think Argentina. Argentina is, but I also love Bolivia. I haven't been to Bolivia as much as Argentina. I've been to Argentina a fair bit. I love it for a number of reasons. I haven't seen a whole lot of the country, unfortunately. Just Buenos Aires and the part of the country I go for my music festival. I go almost every year. But I gotta say, I love the culture. I love the food. I love the drink. I love the people. I love the dancing. I love the musical, artistic culture, and just the vibe that I get there, which is just really different than what I get to experience other places. So I love Argentina. This group is a group of people that just were trying to make the world and the university a better place. Trying to put their minds together, combine their efforts. And by the end of the year, I'd been going to the meetings and been part of this group. Now 2021. The head of it, Anne, her mentor, asked me if I wanted to go in on a project proposal. And I said, well, what do you have in mind? She goes, well, I have connections with some indigenous groups around the world, particularly in Bolivia and in Sierra Leone. Um, and I'm wondering if we could do a combination music and technology project. And I still wasn't quite sure like what she was getting at, and so we kind of talked about it a bit more. But my initial thought was, yes, that sounds very interesting. I mean, of course, why would I not want to do something like that? So we created the proposal, and it was not so much about specific technology or specific music. It really was this concept. I think in the academy, both what I've learned through her is that um, modern technology, what you'd almost call standardized technology, is it's oftentimes thought as just universal. And I think that's also true of Western music. It's particularly European music. And I think it's the way it's been presented is like, well, this is the best music. This is the music that everyone should be playing, and everyone should aspire to this music. And so this was a way for us to kind of say, we're not experts in what we're doing. We're going to go learn. She's going to learn technology from indigenous people in different parts of the world. I'm going to learn their music. Navigated all of this and arranged for us to go to initially Bolivia to work with the Aymara. Aymara is an indigenous group that's been there, one of the longest living groups in Bolivia and the high Andean plain, the Altiplano. Their culture has stayed fairly the same for probably over 1,000 years, and their music has been with them for that long. So we went to Bolivia and learned. Every day we went to a different place, and we got to learn. We got together with the people in the village, and they played their music for us. Sometimes they were interested in our music, but sometimes they weren't. But the most important thing is we got to learn their music, and she got to learn the technology. So the point is, we can learn a lot from indigenous cultures and the way that they have what's called their place-based traditions, music and otherwise. Also, their music is not this is music that is not based in notation. It's based in oral tradition. Um, there's not much, like for instance, hierarchy within the learning of the music. So it kind of pushes against a lot of our Western values, where those things are kind of implicit a lot. So, anyways, got to go there. Then got to go to Sierra Leone to learn in a similar manner Mende and Temne people that she had contact with, and we just got to see so much. Like every day we'd go to maybe 3 villages And then there was interesting because I actually got to improvise and make music with some people there. We decided like, hey, we had a lot of revelations, and part of what on the technological side, what they realized is the openness of musical improvisation, for instance, and this kind of a space is the kind of space that engineers might benefit from to work with diverse peoples. In other words, like instead of having a standardized approach where it's like, well, we do it this way, and then they can't really help people who don't want that. No, have it like a musician who's going to now improvise. So if you start playing and I respond to you, then we just have a conversation. So that and so on both levels, the music and the technology, improvisation was at the heart of it, and being a space to open up. So then you can learn music from people that you probably never thought you could learn from. So now we're going to write a book about it. That was a long conversation.